Despite reports to the contrary, Chris Paul did report to day one of Hornets training camp. But then again, after a 24-hour whirlwind that had him traded to the Lakers, then that trade vetoed by the league, it's hard to know what to believe. Hornets guard and longtime friend Jarrett Jack was with CP3 when news came down about the trade getting nixed. Paul's reaction?
It was just, am I traded or am I not traded? Is it till tomorrow? Is it, you know what I'm saying? It was just a state of confusion and, you know, going through something that we've never heard of before. I've never heard of anything like that, you know, in the history of the game. And it was just more so a state of confusion more so than anything.
Another reported story that was refuted on day one of training camp was that Hornets GM Dell Demps was so frustrated by the NBA's decision to block the Chris Paul trade that he had to be talked out of quitting. Demps did admit that all the confusion could have been avoided before it started.
It would be real easy if, you know, Chris signed the extension, but you know, the reality of it is he didn't sign the extension. And so we have to do everything that we can for the organization. And, you know, I wish he stayed. You know, I'm not going to lie about it, but, you know, it is what it is.
And that's a philosophy shared by head coach Monty Williams. What it is for Williams was that on day one of Hornets training camp, Paul was a Hornet.
For me, as the head basketball coach, I can't get caught up in the other stuff. I have to make sure that I'm devoted to preparation and getting guys ready to play. And I think the other guys, all of our guys, deserve that.
For Demps, it was back to the proverbial drawing board, as the scenario that faced him from day one on the job in New Orleans finally came to a head.
We always knew that there was a possibility that this day would happen, and we are taking every measure and every step we possibly can to bring a team here to New Orleans that represents the city, and so we can have the best team out here on the court. You know, I don't want people to hate Chris Paul. I want to make sure I say that. I don't hate Chris Paul. I understand what's going on here. And, you know, I like him as a person. I think his parents did a great job. He has a great foundation, and he's a good person.
Emeka Okafor knows all about trade rumors. He was involved in plenty before he was finally dealt from Charlotte to New Orleans. His name has been tossed around in the latest Hornets trade talks as well.
You hear a lot of things, and like I said, you never know until it's, you know, until you're told. So your mindset is just you show up to practice and proceed as usual.
And so it went for the Hornets on day one of training camp. The glare of the spotlight dimmed by the black cloud of speculation, with hopes that in the future the attention will be for a different reason.
My goal is that someday all these cameras will be here because we're in the Western Conference Finals, or going to the finals. Obviously, you guys are here to talk about something that hasn't happened, may happen, or what could happen. I can't deal in those realities. I have to deal in the reality that we have a team here, and I have to prepare those guys to get ready to play.
For CST Tonight, I'm Eric Ritchie.